What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, and we're here today with the Pokemon Global League draft analysis. The league has been rebooted, and this is a brand new season, a fresh start for us as well. If you guys are ready for some draft league Pokemon, if you guys are ready to bring the championship home to Crimson City, baby, show some love on that like button down below, and let's get right into this. So for those of you guys who don't know what Draft League Pokemon is, typically there are 8 to, I've played with 24 coaches that will pick specific Pokemon for their team. They will draft them, and they will use their 11 Pokemon to battle the other team's 11 Pokemon in an epic battle for glory and internet bragging points. So we're back. I love Draft League Pokemon. If you guys aren't familiar, I have participated in the PGL for seasons 2, 4, and part of 7. And the league is now under new ownership, and it is a completely reboot for season 1, so I figured I'd toss my head into the ring for this. I've also participated in the GBA, the Global Battle Association, the P4G, the Pokemon for Glory League, WBE, World Battle Entertainment. What else have I done? NPA, the National Pokemon Association. I've done a lot of Draft League Pokemon. I really like it. I really think it's an awesome way to keep competitive Pokemon fresh as opposed to just the standard Wi-Fi battles. And I've always enjoyed battling, so having a very creative way and having a very just involved way of battling is really awesome in my opinion. So this is our team. We're gonna go over our team that we drafted. Team builders will be going up next week, followed by the battles the next day. I am very excited for both of those as well. The first Pokemon, so the way that I go about this is some people have methods when they draft. I have been doing this for 4 years now, and I don't think I have a method when I draft. I usually try to, if I'm near the end of the draft list, I try to grab like a good pair that I think will go together. But if I am early in the draft order, like 1 through X amount of coaches, I'll just try to grab the most broken thing that's still available. So that's what we kind of did this time around. So the first overall pick, I wanted Zeraora because it was tier 2, and I thought it'd be really cool to use. But Zeraora went first overall, so we were 7th on the draft order, I want to say. So the first Pokemon that we do have, that we did draft, is Mega Mawile, aka Toof. We've got Toof, the Mega Mawile. Let's talk about Mega Mawile's stats. First off, before Mega Evolving, this is, I believe it's turn 1 Mega Evolution, if I'm not mistaken. It is a free Z Crystal League, so keep that in mind when I go over my picks, because if you're familiar with WBE, where we did need to draft a specific Z Crystal to use, this is a free Z Crystal League. We can use Z whatever Pokemon we want to, as long as the Z move isn't banned. So, first Pokemon we drafted was Mega Mawile. Before Mega Evolution, it has Hyper Cutter, Intimidate, and Sheer Force. Hyper Cutter is really nice because your stats aren't lowered. Intimidate is really nice because you can drop the attack stage on opponents, and Sheer Force is cool because it removes the secondary effective moves while giving your ability a boost. But the cool part is that after Mega Evolution, it has huge power, which doubles its attack stat. So the Steel Fairy type is really, really cool. It does have access to rocks. It has 50 base HP, 105 base attack. When you add huge power on top of that, bruh, it is fantastic. It's got pretty okay defenses. I mean, 125 base defense and 95 base special defense. The 50 HP is a little with those defense stats, but it does give it a little bit of bulk behind it. And then 50 base speed isn't anything too crazy, so you're going to want to make sure that your opponents are kind of slower or more worn down or maybe paralyzed or something like that, just to take advantage of that. But it's got awesome moves. It can set up with Swords Dance. It's got priority and Sucker Punch. It has access to knockoff. Play roughs coming off of this thing are absolutely incredible. It has access to the elemental Fire Fang, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Focus Punch. Like I said, it can set up rocks, Iron Head. I'm sure there's some other moves that it gets that I'm going to take advantage of this season, but it just hits so very hard, and I was just so excited to grab this Pokemon first because I was like, yeah, let's grab the most broken thing that's around. So coming back around, there are, for new people, there are offensive cores that you do like to grab. A lot of people like Fire, Water, Grass, or even defensive cores. Fire, Water, Grass, Psychic, Dark Fighting, Fairy, Steel, Dragon, things like that. So we already have Fairy Steel with Mega Mawile. So on the way back, I wanted to grab a really good Dragon. And I'm really confident with this pick because I've used it pretty well in the past. So pairing with our Mega Mawile, second here, we have Wintergreen the Latios coming back. Latios is a fantastic Pokemon. It provides some really good defensive options pairing with Mega Mawile. Mega Mawile obviously being weak to fire and ground. Latios is immune to ground because of the Levitate ability, provided we're not going up against a Mold Breaker Pokemon that can go through that, or Terravolt in the case of Kyurem Black. And it does resist the fire typing. So while Latios is weak to ice and dark, Mega Mawile can take ice hits and dark hits pretty okay. Like I said, it doesn't have too much bulk, but it's got enough. It doesn't have a lot of bulk, but it can take a hit. But Latios is super fantastic. It can be a great Scarfer. It's a defogger, so we do have some hazard support on the team as of right now. It can drop Dracos. It can Dragon Dance. It can do so much. It can Trick. It can set up with Calm Mind. It can do so many things. It's a great Zmon, especially in an unlimited Z Crystal League. I think there's a hair on my microphone. Especially in an unlimited Z Crystal League, being able to run Draconium Z with Draco, being able to run Icium Z with Ice Beam, being able to run Groundium Z with Earthquake. Just things like that are really, really awesome to have just in case. It's got base 110 speed, which is fantastic because we do outspeed a lot of base 100s that are scarfed and or that have set up 2+1, and we can nuke them with the Draco Meteor. It's got pretty good special bulk as far as 110 base special defense and 80 base HP, so it can be run a little bit more defensively, not as defensively as Latios, its counterpart, but Latios can still put in some work defensively. The 90 base attack stat isn't anything too crazy, but like I said, if your opponent is anticipating a special variant and all of a sudden you bring Dragon Dance Latios, then that can be pretty cool. But it gets reliable recovery with Roost and Recover as well. Psychic, Psyshock, Dual Stab from this thing just really, really hurts. So I'm really excited to get Latios. I thought it was really, really awesome to have, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it pans out. Now, I did mention that a ground-type Pokemon that can have Mold Breaker, so Excadrill, something like Terravolt, Kyurem Black with Earth Power. There's a few other notable mons that get access to Mold Breaker-type moves, Mega Gyarados, Haxorus, anything like that with Earthquake can absolutely just run my team right now. So, and there's only 2 in, so obviously there's room to make improvements, but there is a little bit of a weakness right there. So I wanted to grab something with a little bit more bulk, like an actual dedicated, bulkier Pokemon. So we grabbed Vegistraw's the Tangrowth. Tangrowth has it has 2 abilities that you don't really see too often, Chlorophyll and Leaf Guard, but it does have the Regenerator ability. So upon switching out, the Pokemon will gain 33, I think it's a third of its health back every time it switches out and switches back in, which is really, really cool. Typically, you see Assault Vest ran on Tangrowth because it does have a really diverse move pool. It does have reliable recovery in Regenerator. And then the Assault Vest usually pairs pretty well with the base 50 special defense that it does have, which is fantastic. It's not too fast. It is base 50, similar to Mega Mawile, so it is meant to be more of a slower mon, but it has access to Knockoff, Earthquake. Obviously, every mon can have hidden powers, but I will toss out hidden power coverage. Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain. You can run Leaf Storm. You can have reliable recovery on top of Regenerator with Synthesis. You can toss off Leech Seeds. It's a really, really cool Pokemon. It's a great defensive pivot that can also be run as an offensive mon from time to time, which is really, really awesome in my opinion. The next Pokemon, so we do have Rocks on our team. We do have Mega Mawile. However, you don't want to run Rocks on Mega Mawile. I can, but I don't want to. And just hazard support in general is nice, and I've grown more away from wanting to set rocks on my opponent, which is very typical in league matches, and I really like spike stacking. So I wanted a Pokemon that can set up spikes. I wanted a Pokemon that can have priority. I wanted Pokemon that can can play multiple roles. It can be a powerhouse, but it can also be a little bit more of a utility on our team. And the fact that this Pokemon was still around is actually really awesome, because not only do we have one huge power user in Mega Mawile, but we also have a second huge power user in Roger the Diggersby. Diggersby does have access to huge power as well. While it only does have 56 base attack, huge power does boost that quite a bit. And huge power with the access to set up with Swords Dance, with agility, with priority and quick attack, with Earthquake, with return, with elemental punches. It is so incredible. It is so very incredible. It does have access to spikes. It doesn't have access to rocks, which is okay. I actually thought it was weird it didn't have access to rocks, but it's okay. The spike, it can have pivot momentum with U-turn, which is really nice, especially if we do run a scarf set. Being able to U-turn in and out on switches is really nice. The normal typing does give us a ghost immunity, which is pretty cool right now because we don't have a ghost immunity, and something like Gengar just runs my team. So Diggersby, it does provide us with that as well. Also does give us an electric immunity, which is very nice. We do have a little bit of an ice weakness right now, but that's okay. That's okay. We've got some mons to take care of that. But Diggersby just hits absolutely huge. Like I said, being able to set up with Swords Dance, being able to set up with agility, being able to just hit things really hard with huge power stab moves is fantastic. It's got base 78 speed, so nothing too crazy. But again, having the ability to set up with agility, having the ability to set up with Swords Dance, having priority and quick attack means that we don't really need that much speed. No, we don't need that much speed. We can always toss off some paras. We can stun Spore with Tangrowth. We can do a ton of stuff like that. So that's my opinion on Diggersby. The next Pokemon that I wanted to grab, I always think fast electric types are really good in league formats, and some of them had already been going. You know, I said that I wanted Zeraora. I thought that would have been really cool. I thought about grabbing like Mega Manectric. I thought about grabbing Raikou, Thundurus, just a lot of Pokemon that I was pretty familiar with, but one really stood out to me that it was still available, and I think that it pairs incredibly well with my team. I feel a burp coming on, so I apologize if that just kind of happens mid-recording, but I saw a Pokemon that was fit really, really well with my team. It's got really nice dual stab, in my opinion, which our team lacks right now, and I think that the diversity that this Pokemon provides, as well as the type coverage, is also very nice. So the next Pokemon that I'd like to introduce you for Season 1 of the PGL is Jeff the Galvantula. Galvantula provides us with more pivot momentum with Volt Switch. Compound Eyes is a great ability that boosts our accuracy, so we can just drop raw thunders. We have Unnerve, which will limit or which will hinder our opponent's ability to go for any resistance berries. So, for instance, if Galvantula with HP Fire is in against Forretress with an Aqua Berry, which reduces the damage from super effective Fire-type moves, Unnerve doesn't let him pop that berry. We just burn that boy. So, that is really, really cool. Bug Buzz is really nice to have because it is a sound-type move that goes through substitutes, which is really cool. The other thing that Galvantula provides us with, which with two huge power users, is Sticky Webs. If you guys aren't familiar, in the APA, that's what else I did, American Pokemon Association. APA is another league I did. I ran Sticky Web Galvantula with Calm Mind Latios, which absolutely wrecks. It's so good. Webs are so good. So webs pair incredibly well. It allows Mega Mawile a little bit more freedom to run some more bulk. It can actually give it a standing chance against Pokemon that are naturally faster than it. Same thing with Diggersby. Being able to pair webs with two powerhouses like Mega Mawile and Diggersby is absolutely incredibly advantageous for us, as well as Latios, and in some cases Tangrowth too, just because, like I said, Tangrowth does have some pretty good defensive typing and offensive typing. Defensive stats and offensive stats, but that base 50 speed is a little lacking. So being able to provide webs does give us the opportunity to run a little bit more offensive with Tangrowth, which is something that our opponents might not see coming, which is absolutely incredible. Galvantula's got base 108 speed, so it does still outspeed a lot of those base 100 mons, which is really cool. Being able to have access to a lot of moves that do cripple speed, such as Sticky Web, such as Discharge, such as Thunder Wave. Being able to toss off Energy Balls, being able to just raw Thunder with Compound Eyes is really advantageous for us, so I really do look forward to using Galvantula and seeing how the team's coming together right now. The next Pokemon that I wanted, I really wanted something like Manaphy. However, Manaphy had just gone, and I thought that would have been a really good ice resist. But looking at how the team is built, looking at how we have two physical powerhouses, one special powerhouse, and then Tangrowth and Galvantula more as neutral ground, I'd say defensive pivot and a versatile pivot with Galvantula and Tangrowth, not respectively. Defensive pivot with Tangrowth and an offensive pivot with Galvantula. I wanted another just monster, just an absolute monster to be able to take advantage of the webs, being able to add us some typing that we haven't yet covered already, and being able to provide us with another Pokemon that can help set up to win, that can also abuse Z-Crystals. We talked about Latios being able to abuse Z-Crystals. Galvantula, I suppose, can run something like Gigavolt Havoc. Diggersby can run something like Breakneck Blitz or the Tectonic Rage. Yeah, Continental Crush's Rock. Tectonic Rage. I wanted something that could run just a little bit more versatile moves that we haven't had covered yet, and I saw this Pokemon still lying around with the fact that we have webs right now as well. Please welcome Fame Monster, the Bliss Cephalon. Bliss Cephalon is a Pokemon every time I've gone up against, I have to take just a little extra time to prepare for. This Pokemon is incredible offensively. Defensively, it's a sack of twigs. Offensively, fantastic. 107 base speed, still really good speed tier. Outsped obviously by base 108 and up. 151 base special attack, 127 base attack. So common sets. Sub Calm Mind. Calm Mind 3 attacks. Flame Charge 3 attacks. Specs. Scarf. 4 attacks in general because it's so powerful, especially with webs. Something like that coming off is really nice. It does have its signature move Mind Blown, which is an incredibly powerful fire type attack that does take us 50% recoil, but I think it's like base 200 or something. I don't remember how much it is off the top of my head, but it's incredible. Overheat, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that this Pokemon can do. Like I said, also having access to Knockoff, Calm Mind 3 attack, Flame Charge 3 attacks as well. I thought this Pokemon paired pretty nicely. It does give us a normal immunity. It does defensively, like I said, it doesn't really take a hit. So typing wise, yes, we have an Ice Resist, but like actual bulk wise, no, we don't have a resist. So Bliss Cephalon is there. It can take advantage of the webs as well. It can take advantage of these spikes that we do have available through Diggersby, which is pretty fantastic in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to using Bliss Cephalon. I love the fact that it has its Beast Boost ability, which after every time it KOs a Mon, the highest stat that it has gains +1. So if you're running, you just keep boosting your special attack and keep boosting, and then eventually it's just game over for somebody. So the next Pokemon that we grabbed, I talked about how we have rocks. I talked about how I don't want to run rocks on Mega Mawile. I wanted a little bit more. If I wanted to run rocks, I didn't want to run it on Mawile. I don't want to run Defog on Latios every week. So I wanted a Pokemon that can get rocks, that can defog rocks away, provide a little bit more bulk to the team, because right now our bulk kind of lies in Tangrowth. So I grabbed Gligar. Nightwing the Gligar is coming to the team. Gligar's got some pretty cool abilities. It does have Hyper Cutter to prevent it from being the stats from lowering on things like Intimidate. It has Immunity, which prevents it from being toxic, which is crucial for defensive Pokemon like these. And then it has Sand Veil, which boosts the evasiveness in the sand. So if we ever do have an opponent that does have, I'm sure somebody drafted like T-Tar, Hippowdon, or Mega T-Tar, but if we do ever have a Pokemon that does have sand, we can maybe get cheeky with a little Sand Veil Gligar action. But it does have some pretty cool defensive stats as far as 105 defense, 65 base special defense, and then access to Eviolite does boost those. And Eviolite is an item that when your Pokemon holds it, if it does have the option to evolve once more, for instance, Gligar evolving into Gliscor, wow, completely forgot about that. It does boost the defense and special defensive stats of that Pokemon. It can Earthquake, it can Knock Off, it can Toxic, it can U-Turn, it's got Reliable Recovery and Roost, it can set up rocks, it can get rocks away. Chase, you're still furthering your ice weakness. I know, I can't help it. We're working on it. We still have 4 more picks to talk about, but we're working on it. But Gligar's a really cool Pokemon coming out of Tier 4. I've used Gligar before. I think it's really nice to have. I think Pokemon like Gligar as opposed to Gliscor and Golbat as opposed to Crobat are really cool defensive Pokemon to have on the team. I've used Gligar before, and I think it does work really well. I do think that we need to fix our ice weakness right now, but Gligar does provide us an electric immunity. It does provide us with another ground immunity, a traditional ground immunity, not something like Levitate with Latios. However, something like Thousand Arrows still does hit us from Zygarde, but Thousand Arrows hits everything. You can't prep for Thousand Arrows. So Gligar's on the team. I really do like it. The next Pokemon on our team coming out of Tier 5, we have Bath Bomb the Quillfish. So hear me out about Quillfish. Water poison type. So now we have our water team. We have an ice resist, a traditional ice resist on the team. We have a Pokemon that is weak to electric, ground, psychic. Electric, ground, psychic. Yeah? I'm missing something. Grass is neutral, I'm pretty sure. Electric, ground, psychic. We've got coverage. We've got defensive typings that can handle electric, ground, and psychic. We have electric immunities. We have no psychic immunity yet, but we do have ways to tank those psychic hits. I think it pairs really well. It has access to priority and Aqua Jet. It has access to setting up spikes. It can set up toxic spikes. It's a grounded poison type, which allows us to remove toxic spikes, which is really important. I always love Weezing in League format, but because it's not a grounded poison type Pokemon, it just lets your opponent just run T-spikes all over. So being able to do that, being able to Destiny Bond as well is really cool. It does have the Intimidate ability, which is really nice. It does lower the attack stat of your opponent's Pokemon by 1 stage, which is really cool. The Scald, Liquidation, Explosion, Swords Dance. It does have Swift Swim if we feel like being cheeky against any rain users, but as far as stats go, it's nothing too crazy. 85 base speed, stuff like that. So Just a little bit more. It gives us an ice resist. It gives us another spiker. It gives us a T-spike setter. It gives us a grounded poison type, which is really, really cool. And more importantly, it gives us an ice resist. So the next Pokemon on our team, also coming out of tier 5, is, and I know I haven't talked about the tiers. I apologize if you guys are confused about that. I'll post the tiers in the comment section down below. But the next Pokemon that we do have on the team provides us with a Psychic immunity. It provides us with another Ice, or a Psychic immunity, Ice resistance. It provides us more priority. It provides us a little bit more setup opportunities as well. We did grab Neon Icon, the Sneasel. Sneasel's a very awesome Pokemon. I think in tier 5, it's an absolute steal, because while it doesn't have the same stats as Weavile, it still does have 95 base attack and 115 base speed. Stab knockoff is always really nice to have. Priority and Ice Shard, being able to set up with Swords Dance. Icicle Crash is fantastic. Being able to Pursuit Trap those Ghost types is really awesome as well. Ghost and Psychic types. It does obviously have the 4 times weakness to fighting, but what it does have outside of Weavile is that it does have access to run something like Eviolite, which is cool. This does give us a little bit more versatility, because while it is a little bit of a lesser used Z-Crystalmon, in my opinion, it does have the access to run things like Dark EMZ, Icy EMZ. There's a few other moves that it gets access to that I'm not going to spoil just yet, but there's that burp. But Sneasel does pair really nicely with the team, in my opinion. Gives us a little bit more speed. We can run Adamant a lot of the time because we do have webs, which is really, really cool as well. So I think Sneasel's a great Pokemon to have. I think Sneasel absolutely does the job. I think it provides, like I said, a little bit more typing that we didn't have on the team. An Ice Resist, a Psychic immunity to help with Quillfish, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So we've got 2 picks left, and we get, with our points, we get 1 out of tier 4 and 1 out of tier 5. And I wanted something that can be run defensively. I wanted something that can be a threat under webs. I wanted something that could provide an ice immunity if need be. Or not an ice immunity, an ice resistance if need be. I wanted something that could just give us a little bit more priority as well. Something that when an opponent sees this on my roster, they go, do I need to prep for that? Do I need to prep for that? So next Pokemon we have coming out of tier 4 is Toguro the Hariyama. Hariyama has 3 fantastic abilities. Thick Fat reduces the damage of fire and ice type moves. Guts, if I'm status ailmented, if I have a status ailment in any way, my attack is boosted. And Sheer Force, removing the secondary effect of my moves, but such as paralysis on Thunder Punch or freezing on Ice Punch, to further boost my attack. 144 base HP, poggers. 120 base attack, and that's pretty much all you need. Sometimes, a lot of times, you'll see Assault Vest Hariyama, because it doesn't really have, its special defense is base 60, but with that base HP of 144, in my opinion, discount Conkeldurr, in my opinion. Wish it got Drain Punch, but it doesn't. If it got Drain Punch, give Hariyama Drain Punch in Gen 8, but base 50 speed. So again, another Pokemon that can abuse the webs. It does have priority in Fake Out and Bullet Punch. Close combat's coming off of this thing hurt so bad. It does have access to Belly Drum. It does have access to Normalium Z Belly Drum, which is really, really cool as well. Like I said, Fake Out, Bullet Punch, does have Ice Punch, Knockoff, Earthquake. There's a few other moves that it does get, but really, really cool Pokemon. I'm really looking forward to using Hariyama. I've always had a hard time prepping for it, and I wanted a Pokemon that kind of gave my opponents something hard to prepare for. So, not that the rest of the team isn't hard to prepare for by any means. So, the last Pokemon on the team, again, so we've got Mega Mawile, we've got Gligar. Sometimes you don't want to run Rocks on Gligar. Sometimes you want to run Toxic, Defog, U-Turn, Earthquake. Sometimes you want to run not Rocks, but you want Rocks on your team. So I wanted something that, like, pretty much every week that it could show up, it is just a dedicated rocker. I wanted something that when you saw this thing, you're like, it has Stealth Rocks. So I wanted a Rock-type Pokemon. I wanted something that could add a little bit more defensive backbone to the team. I wanted something that can take a hit and dish it out at the same time. So coming out of tier 5, we have Big Boy Man, the Reggie Rock. We have Reggie Rock coming out of tier 5 with a clear body ability, prevents our stats from being dropped, pure rock type, 80 base HP, 100 base attack, 200 base defense, Pog Jam, 100 base special defense, and 50 base speed. So it can abuse webs, it can Thunder Wave, it can set up rocks, it can Seismic Toss, it can do everything all the other Reggies can, except it is a big boy man. It's pretty cool. It can run, it does have actually a pretty decent move pool in my opinion for a tier 5 pure rock type Pokemon. But like I said, very good dedicated rocker, very solid check to a lot of physical threats with that just pure rock typing. and the base 200 defense. And like I said, even 100 base special defense, that's nothing to shake a stick at. So I think it's really well rounded. It does have weakness, obviously, to fighting, grass, water, ground. I gotta remember my typings, it's been so long. But we have the weaknesses covered. I think it's a really, really cool defensive backbone to the team that does provide us with a little bit more versatility with our Pokemon like Gligar, with a couple Pokemon like Mega Mawile. I think being able to take those physical hits that the rest of our Pokemon don't like to take, I think being able to have that is really, really cool. Some things that I do wish we had on the team: I do wish we had wish support. I do wish we had maybe one more Pokemon above base 100 speed, but that's why I said I really do like webs on the team. But that's our full roster for Season 1 of the PGL. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I personally think this is the best team I've drafted since WBE when I got Kyurem Black and Mega Diancie. I think it's a fantastic team. I do want to thank my friends Jared and Superblaw for assisting me in drafting this team. I think it is a fantastic, fantastic roster, and I'm really looking forward to getting it back in a draft league. I've been practicing a lot. I've been watching a lot. I've been learning. Last time I did really well in draft league, I took time off, studied from the shadows, meditated under the waterfalls, and now I'm back and I'm ready to claim a W for Crimson City. So I hope you guys are excited. The team builders and battles go up next week. I hope you guys are ready. If you guys are excited, like I said at the beginning of the video, feel free to show some love on that like button. If you guys are new to my channel, hello, I'm Chase. Feel free to subscribe for more Pokemon content. All that being said, I want to remind you guys to be great and do great. I'm going to let this outro bang. I'm going to talk to you all soon. Later.